Alright, I guess we are not to the easier section yet. Brown Clan Adventures back again on Kiamichi Trail. Started a little descent, pretty rocky. So went ahead and threw back in floor low and low gear. For those of y'all that do not know that trick, if you do that, it's not for any extra traction or anything, obviously on the downhill. If you have a low enough crawl ratio, then it basically is like a off-road cruise control of sorts. I mean, you can't really set it if you're in a vehicle as old as ours. That would be more like a traction management system or something like that, or actual crawl control. On newer Toyotas, I believe they have them, and I think Ford has something similar to that as well. Ours is a 2001 though, so we just rely on our gearing, which is very good, and I barely have to touch the brake and it goes very, very slow, as you can see. But basically it stops you from rolling really fast over those rocks, which it wants to do. So this is how fast we go if I don't touch the brake and we're on flat ground. So obviously it's pretty good ratio there. If we were having a crawl off, you know, we'd do pretty well for ourselves. But anyway, yeah, there's some more fun little obstacles upcoming. Yeah, nice pinstriping, more of that. But you know, we got plenty, so what's a little more, right? But yeah, it looks like we got another little climb now, so I'll go and leave her filming. Take it out of low gear though, so we can get a little bit more speed going. Low gear and the drivetrain, not the transfer case. We're gonna stay in low just to make sure this goes smoothly, because there's a pretty big little washout right here. But oh, that was actually really easy. Again, every time I think something's gonna be kind of difficult, our vehicle is like, yeah, let me show you. If we drank, Beastie would be like, hold my beer. And we're back in drive. I'm gonna keep it in low for now though, because I don't know what's gonna come up here. At some point this is supposed to get a lot easier, because it's supposed to flatten out before it gets to the highway, supposedly. Yeah, man, this thing gets crazy overgrown. In any of the videos I've seen posted on this trail, I didn't see any that were like this, because we're getting rocked. So it's you know, it is what it is. Not a big deal, but just a little bit more than was expected. Not looking too bad. Looks like we're getting back to more of the smaller rocks, like the 6-inch. It's only washed out in certain little spots where it gets a little rutted up, and it's nothing too terrible. I'm not super familiar with the dirt here in Oklahoma, but it doesn't seem to be too bad. If it's clay though, eventually I'm sure, like if it gets wet enough, I'm sure it'll be pretty slick. But everything we've come across has been pretty grippy. We were rolling on 275 70 18s. They're Goodyear Wrangler Authority ATs. I think that's what they're called. Got them from Discount Tire. They're a really good deal, a really good price. They've gotten just a touch of chunks that have been like taken out, like real small. I'd actually call it more chipping than actual chunking, but they grip very, very well on pretty much any surface we put them on so far. So I recommend those tires. That being said, we're probably going to go up in size the next time we need a new set, which won't be for a while. So we'll probably get a different set, just because they don't really offer these tires in the size we want. But they've held up very, very well on everything we put them through. So, and yeah, wife pointed out something very, very important to us, especially with a baby, or if you got kids or whatever, or if you just get annoyed by the hum of loud tires. These tires are exceptionally quiet on the highway. So we'll definitely be looking for that trait on any other tires that we end up purchasing in the future. It's a pretty high bar. We've had a lot of different tires. The most recent ones we had were a set of BFG KO2s, which I mean a lot of folks run. They were kind of quiet for as aggressive an AT as they are, but these tires are just as aggressive in my opinion, and they are way quieter. It's remarkable how quiet they are on the highway. So obviously not as quiet as like a street tire or something like that, but for an AT and an aggressive AT at that, these are wonderfully quiet. So highly recommend the Goodyear Wrangler Authority ATs. All right, another hill climb with more rocks. More washout. So yeah, again, if you're in a big vehicle and you're looking for a whole lot of fun and a whole lot of pucker factor, there are plenty of washouts you could probably have a pretty good time on. Again, we got the family in the vehicle, so I'm gonna take the line all the way to the left, which is easy peasy. If you wanted to back there, we could have thrown it back into, low gear, and we're already on low on the transfer case just to make it simpler on this. I know it looks flat on the video, but we're actually climbing back up again. And like I mentioned, we got baby up here with us. We usually keep her out on the trail because she gets angry, and plus it's a little easier to maintain control of her big head because it is she got a big old noggin. So more whoop-de-doos. Again, just pick a good line and you'll be fine. You can get a little tippy in these situations. It'd also be pretty easy to get yourself high-centered. So just pay attention to what you're doing and pay attention to which way your tires are facing so you don't slide yourself off in a bad situation. If you did not know, easiest thing to do on whoop-de-doos like that, or washouts, whatever you want to call them, ruts, is to zigzag back and forth. If you do not have a lot of clearance, you want to find the most shallow sections to cross over. If you are in a completely independent front suspension or independent suspension vehicle, like all four wheels are independent suspension, then you need to be even more careful with your line. If you don't have some sort of all-wheel drive system, well, I mean, obviously you're going to have an all-wheel drive system if you're out here, but if you don't have something that's got like a torque vectoring or a brake ABS system that's going to, basically simulate having a locker, I would not try this trail because it does, articulate enough to where you are going to have tires in the air pretty frequently. And if you do not have a system that can send power to the wheel with traction, you're going to be in trouble. So if you've got a vehicle with either rear axle or front and rear axles, you're probably going to be fine. They can probably articulate enough, unless you've got a very small amount of travel, as in your shocks. Then you'll probably have to disconnect your sway bar, and then you'll be able to navigate this just fine. But again, that's just, comes down to knowing your rig before you go. Yeah, it's a little off camber, but nothing terrible. I mean, this is, we're maybe at a, I don't know, I'd say 20-degree pitch at most. Not like the other day where we got to about 40-degree pitch. That was again at Hot Springs ORV. We were on a trail Buckhorn, and there were just giant boulders everywhere, and we were basically on the side of a mountain, and there was a giant group in front of us, so we kept having to stop. And so not only were we at about a 40-degree pitch, which, mind you, Toyota suggests that do not take this vehicle past 45 degrees or you will roll, which is, not terrible. It's about the standard for most vehicles. Most vehicles will roll at about 45-degree angle. But I mean, we were pretty close, and we were literally having to sit there for, I don't know, it was probably like felt like forever, but I'm sure it was only a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes, while we were waiting on all these other vehicles to navigate all these other obstacles. And it was, man, I didn't even think to put on the camera because I was busy trying to navigate this and try and keep the family calm, because it was a scary situation. We weren't in any imminent danger, in that, like, it was not guaranteed like something was going to happen. But if we would have made a single wrong move, a single wrong tire placement, then yes, things would have gone very, very poorly. That being said, nobody got hurt and nobody rolled or anything like that. There was a couple new Jeeps, like literally just had dealer plates on them, that were out there, and I do not know what they were expecting to find on that trail, but they got stuck about halfway through, and I don't know that they made it out, to be really honest. But yeah, so just because you got a Jeep doesn't mean you can do class 3 or 4 out of 10, or out of 5 trails. Keep that in mind, y'all. Especially when you're only on 31s or 32s, which is what it looked like they were rolling on. So, you know, you don't need gigantic tires. I'm not saying you gotta have 40s to run a lot of these trails. They can help, but you know, 33s or 34s, 35s, and a good driving line, and you can go pretty far. So don't sell yourself short just because you can't spend, you know, $2,500 on tires. I ain't spending that much on tires. My wife would kill me. It's a big straddle. Let's see how this one plays out. Boy, big. Got it. And down on the left. That's a lot of road out. I get why this would be the hardest sections. Hardest. Loose air quotes on hardest, people. It's not that it's particularly hard, it's just, you know, harder than the rest of the trail, because some of this was like basically just a graded dirt road. So, but this is, you know, little parts where you're actually having to pay attention to where you're putting your tires and pick lines carefully. In fact, I don't really recall anybody, because I watched quite a few videos on the Kiamichi Trail. I don't think I saw anybody's video that showed this particular section, or any pictures or anything like that. Everybody made it sound like it was going to be super, super easy, and I'm not saying this isn't, you know, easy, but it's, you know, it's a little more technical than people make it out to be. That's all. So hopefully this will, at least if anybody's thinking about trying this trail, give you a little bit more, if you're anything like me, I like to be prepared. You know, preparation is half the battle. So you can check these videos out, and even if it helps one person to understand what they're getting themselves into, instead of, you know, thinking, oh, well, everybody says this is easy, but, you know, easy is a subjective term. And if you're on, again, coming back to the, you know, if you're on like 37s or 40s, then yeah, this is going to be a cakewalk, because you can roll over pretty much everything on this trail. But if you're somebody who's new to wheeling, or if you're not, you know, rolling in the dough, and you've got a, you know, say 33s at best, then you're going to have to pick your lines a little bit better. So hopefully this will help the average man. How you doing, Mia?
Good.
Having fun? Still enjoying all these views?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Pretty out here. We're right next to Lynn Mountain. Which means we are at about 2,400 feet in elevation, Mia. Yes, ma'am. That's how many feet above sea level we are right now. That's about 1,400 feet above where we live. Yes, ma'am. Pretty high off the ground. Big rock in the mountain. Yes, ma'am. I mean, as high as they want to, technically. I mean, we're already above 1,000, baby. Remember, we're at 2,400, which is 2,400. Holy moly! Whoa. We almost got hit by a deer.
The deer ran up that hill.
Yeah, got spooked by us. It was like, what is the vehicle doing out here? Yeah, hopefully they don't try to while we're out here. Yeah, that's another thing too. If you come here in November, lots of hunters out here. Now, obviously, nobody really shoots at the top of a ridge for a deer, generally speaking, or at least you hope they don't if they know what they're doing when they hunt. But yeah, just always be aware of that. We're a pretty big, marginally shiny tan vehicle, so it's pretty easy to see us, especially out here amongst all the brown and red and yeller. So, yeah, that was crazy.
Even in winter, you can see these buildings.
Yeah, we're pretty visible. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. So, because you always want to be visible, just in case, like this particular situation right now, where there are people out here hunting, where you don't want to be, you know, if you blend in with the surroundings, then somebody might accidentally shoot near you, which would obviously not be a good thing. So, yes, ma'am. If you're not visible, then like I just said, baby, somebody might accidentally shoot near you. They won't necessarily shoot at you. I mean, Lord willing, nobody's got that kind of malice in their heart. But if they don't see your vehicle, or they don't know that you're there and they're trying to get a deer, then they could fire. And yeah, if they don't know that you're there, then they could accidentally shoot, and that would obviously be bad. So, you all right, baby? Sorry, it's pretty rough. They said this little section would be the roughest. They weren't lying. Shout out to trailsoffroad.com for putting together all the write-ups and stuff on all this, because lots of good information on there. Only updates I would put on there, like I said, is just you know, again, make it sound a lot easier than this trail has actually been. I mean, don't get me wrong, for the most part, it's pretty dang easy. But like this little section right here, this is a pretty significant little rock garden. And if you don't know that it's here, like if you were coming in this at a two-wheel drive, you'll probably make it, but it's possible that you don't. Going down is easy. So if you run this east to west, yeah, you'll make it down. But if you were coming west to east, you know, this would be pretty difficult to make it up in a two-wheel drive. So, just food for thought. Oh man, this side's way rougher. Baby doing all right? She just keep waking up. What the hell going on? What y'all doing to me? Not prepared for this. No, she just wakes up for a split second. She's like, what? And then she goes back to sleep. Stir it brief reprieve, and then we're back to the rocks.
Look at that.
Oh yeah, that looks crazy. This is where all the rocks come from. Over to our right is basically a giant stone pile. It looks like lots of pieces of the mountain have broken off, and you can see over to the left where they've all tumbled down the mountain. So watch for falling rock. Tubes, it looks like this is going to be just a pretty normal rocky descent, so I will leave y'all with the view of the valley over to our left. There we go. Y'all can see that. It is man, spectacular view. But hopefully you've enjoyed this. This trail pretty much stays the same. It's supposed to kind of ease up after this next switchback that we're gonna come to. But y'all take care, man, and yeah, Kiamichi Trail, come check it out.